Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Janakalyani Niratam Karunaha Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Giri Yatkripatamaham Vande Paramanandam. Okay, let's read from verse number 9 and we'll go all the way to verse number 12. Right? So let's go ahead and read that. Machitta madgata pranaha bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti charamanti cha. Tesham satatayuktana bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. Tesham evanukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavasthaha Jnanadipena bhasvata. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevamajam vibhum. So here what we saw is there are those devotees in verse number 9, Machittaha. They keep dwelling, their minds dwell on Bhagavan. Madgata pranaha. They direct all of their sense organs to Bhagavan. Bodhayanta parasparam. And when they speak and when they discuss with other beings, they talk about the topics of Bhagavan, the glories of Bhagavan. And they also kathayantascha, they disseminate information about Bhagavan. So when they're discussing bodhayanta parasparam or kathayantascha mam nityam, when they're disseminating information or sharing information, they share about Bhagavan, and in this way they are content, they are happy, and they revel in that divinity. And when somebody has these qualities, when somebody acts in the world like this, is very beautifully just dwelling on that divinity, Bhagavan says to them in verse number 10, Satata yuktanam, those who are ever steadfast. Satata, they're not part-time seekers, full-time, meaning in everything there is divinity. In everything there's divinity, everything that they do. Those who are priti purvakam, those who have love for Bhagavan. Not love for wealth, love for fame, love for people or gossip or all of these other things, but those who have love for Bhagwan, true love, dadami buddhi yogam. I give them this buddhi yoga. I give them this knowledge by which they can come to me, Bhagavan says. And in verse number 11, it says, what will this knowledge do? And didn't they have this knowledge already? So perhaps they had the knowledge, perhaps Shravanam was done, but Mananam not yet so. Perhaps maybe they had some knowledge, but maybe there's still some doubts about the reality, some doubts about how we could be Bhagavan, how we could be infinite. So to them, Bhagavan says, I give this knowledge by which their ignorance is removed. And this knowledge shines forth. And last time we talked all about how ignorance is actually removed. How the only thing that needs to be done is knowledge, is to remove ignorance, and the self-luminous self shines forth. And after this, Arjuna is overwhelmed and he just wants to praise Bhagwan because he wants to know more. He's almost like, tell me more. I want to know more and more about your glories. And in verse number 12, where we left off last time, that's where really Arjuna starts to share his feelings and emotions to Bhagwan and says, I'm overwhelmed because you are Param Brahma. You are the supreme Brahman. And if you were in the Emmy Awards or any award show, you would win all of the categories because you are the supreme most of every single thing. You are the highest that one can ever attain. And you are the highest abode. And you are so pure, Pavitram. Bhagwan is Pavitram in the sense that anything that gets associated to Bhagwan becomes pure. The cow being associated with Shree Krishna is so respected. The snake, it's because it's associated with Bhagwan Shiva, it's very much respected. So any vahana, anything that gets associated with Bhagwan or Bhagavati becomes venerated, becomes respectable, becomes pure. The dust of Vrindavan, the dust of New York City, nobody's going to, it's pavitram. But the dust of Vrindavan, people will pack it, or the dust of Ayodhya, how they did, people will pack it and bring it home. This is mitti, right? They want to keep that. Huh? Water in the Hudson River, nobody's taking and putting in bottles. But in Prayagraj, because it's associated with Bhagwan, when they go to Manasarovar or Prayagraj, they want to take that jal, Ganga jal, and bring it back, because anything that touches Bhagwan, gets associated with Bhagwan, automatically becomes pure. And it becomes a Tirtha Bhumi. A place where Bhagwan Rama walked becomes Tirtha Bhumi, right? Rameshwaram. That just because Sri Rama was there, that's it. Everybody feels his glory when they go there. So anything becomes pure when it's associated with you, Arjuna said, and Paramam Bhavan. You are that supreme being. You are that supreme Purusha. And Shashvatam, eternal. You are Sat. Divyam, you are Chit. You are that effulgence. Adi Devam, Ajam. You are that source of everything. That's unborn. That's Ananda, Vibhum. And you manifest in so many ways. So this is what Arjuna said. Now, we'll start from verse number 13 today, where Arjuna is going to say, all of these people also said this about you, right? So verse number 13, Ahustvam rishayas sarve.
Ahustvam rishayas sarve.
Devarshirnaradastatha.
Devarshirnaradastada.
Asito devalo vyasaha.
Asito devalo vyasaha.
Swayam chaiva bravishi me.
Swayam chaiva bravishi me.
Ahustvam rishayas sarve. Devarshirnaradastatha. Asito devalo vyasaha. Swayam chaiva bravishi me. So here he says, Ahuhu, Ahuhu, they declared. They declared what? Tvam. They declared that you are this. Who declared it? Grishayaha, these rishis. Like Sarve Devarshi, all these Deva-rshis, divine rishis, like Naradaha, Tatha Asitaha, like Asitaha, like Devalaha, like Vyasaha, Swayam Cha, and yourself, Eva Bravishi, and yourself even say this to me. Bravishi, you say this to me. Me. All the rishis have thus declared you as also the Deva Rishi Narada, so also Asita, Devala, and Vyasa, and now the same you yourself say to me. So he's saying that this Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, all of these things, it's not only that I am saying it because all these great rishis declared it, and so did you. Now, why is Arjuna saying this statement? Because sometimes when random people say things, there's a limit to what they say, in the sense that they will speak from their own standpoint. They might speak from their own standpoint, so they might only reveal what they want to reveal. If they don't want to reveal something, they won't reveal it. Sometimes they might twist some things. Sometimes they might hide some things. Sometimes they might purposefully not say what they should say because they have an agenda for something. So when we leave it to regular individuals, we will never really know the truth about things because there's a defect, there's a dosha. In Rajasic, Tamasic mind, there's a dosha. The dosha is that people have their own prejudices, they have their own agendas. People want to twist things. People cannot see that far. People cannot think deeply about things. So regular people wouldn't be able to come to this. So when we talk about Narada, we're talking about a Deva Rishi. He said this. And the Rishis are pramanika, means they are authoritative sources. They become authoritative sources because their minds are satvic. When a mind is sattvika, that mind is able to see with clarity and objectivity. That mind is able to see purely without any biases. So Arjuna said, look, even Narad Rishi says this. And we all know Narad Rishi is very famous for bringing out the Narada Bhakti Sutras. Narad Rishi is the one who inspired Rishi Valmiki. Narad Rishi is the one who taught Prahlada in the womb. Narad Rishi is the one who guided Dhruva. So Narad Rishi is such a divine presence. He said this. Vyasaha, Bhagwan Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, the one who compiled all the Vedas, who composed this Mahabharata in which the Bhagavad Gita is nestled in, the one who wrote the Puranas, this Veda Vyasa ji has said this. And he says Asitaha and Devalaha. So in one source, the Puranic encyclopedia, it says that Devalaha and Asitaha are disciples of Bhagwan Vyasa. There's also a story in another Purana that says that Asitaha was a great sage and he had a son, Devalaha. And this Devalaha was a great wonderful son, and he grew into a handsome young boy, and this Apsara named Rambha, she fell in love with him. But he didn't, he didn't heed to her want, to her love, because he wasn't interested. So she cursed him. She cursed him, may you have 8 bends in your body. So this Devalaha actually became Ashtavakra. That's in one Purana. So the basic thing he's saying here is that all of these people who have this sattvic mind, who are authoritative in knowledge, who are so pure in their own personality, they also speak this about you. And you yourself have said it. Bhagavan himself has said earlier, I am the source of everything. I am unborn. I am endless. So you yourself has said this. And Arjuna said, I want to understand more of this. So now we will see verse number 14, where Arjuna says, I want to know more. I want to understand more. Sarvametadritam manye.
सर्वमेतद्धृतं मन्ये
Yadmam vadasi Keshava.
यन्मां वदसि केशव
Nahi te Bhagavan Vyaktim.
न हि ते भगवन् व्यक्तिम्
Vidurdevanadhanavaha.
विदुर्देवानदानवाः
Sarvametadhritam manye. Yanmam vadasi Keshava. Nahi te Bhagavan Vyaktim. Vidurdevanadhanavaha. So here he says, Sarvam etat, all this, ritam, all this is true. Manye means I think that all this is true. Yat mam vadasi, that which you say to me, I think all of it is true. O Keshava, nahi te bhagavan vyaktim, means your vyaktim, your manifestation is not known. Naviduhu, it's not known by who? Devaha, the devas, na danavahas, nor the danavahas. The danavahas here, the asuras. I believe all this that you say to me as true, O Keshava. Verily, O blessed Lord, neither the devas nor the danavas know your manifestation. So Arjuna is trying to understand Sri Krishna. Here he's feeling quite contradicted because, Sri Krishna says, I am the origin of the world. He had said earlier, I'm the origin of the world. I am the source of everything. But Sri Krishna is standing in front of Arjuna. Arjuna said, you are the source of the world, but I know you have 2 mothers and 2 fathers. And that's also quite confusing. I don't know who your real mother and father is, right? Is it Devaki and Vasudeva, or is it Yashoda and Nanda Baba? And Sri Krishna said he's eternal. But Arjuna said, Krishna seems like he's the same age as me. Sri Krishna says that he is the sustainer of this whole world. But Arjuna says that Sri Krishna feels like just a friend of mine. So he's trying to understand Sri Krishna's nature, and he's not able to put 2 and 2 things together. Very beautifully, Gurudev says, Arjuna admits here that his heart is satisfied, is overflowing with faith that Sri Krishna is saying all of these things, but his intellect is starved and thirsty. How could it be? How could it be? It is like he has Shravanam of the Vibhutis, but this Mananam is not clear. I believe that you are all of this, but how is it really possible? Is it true? And he says, not even the Devatas know your glory, not even the Asuras know your glory. And here, the deeper meaning of this also, Devatas here means the good thoughts. And the Danavas here mean the negative thoughts. So not even our positive thoughts nor negative thoughts can know Bhagavan. Thoughts can never ever know Bhagavan because Bhagavan is the illuminator of thoughts. So no matter how negative the thought is, that thought cannot break through Bhagavan. And no matter how positive the thought is, even if it's an aham brahmasmi thought, that thought will never know Bhagavan. In fact, it's in the dissolution of all thoughts that Bhagavan's presence shines. So he says, I believe that this is true. I have faith in you, Sri Krishna, because until now, Arjuna has recognized that Sri Krishna has never lied to Arjuna. He's never told any lie. He's never said anything untrue. So he believes it, but he's having a hard time grasping it. And so he wants to know more and more and then further he says now in verse number 15. Swayamevatmanatmanam
स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं
tethatvam purushottama
वेत्तत्वं पुरुषोत्तमा
bhutavana bhutesha
भूतभावनभूतेश
deva jagatpate.
देवदेव जगत्पते
स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्थत्वं पुरुषोत्तमा भूतभावनभूतेश देवदेव jagatpate. Now, so if nobody can know the truth, then why is Arjuna asking Sri Krishna to explain? Nobody can know the truth, so why is Arjuna asking this question? Arjuna tells Sri Krishna, Swayam eva, you yourself, Atmana, by yourself, Atmanam, you yourself can know yourself. Veta, only you yourself can know yourself. Veta tvam, Purushottama, O Purushottama. Bhuta Bhavana, O source of beings. Bhuteshaha, O Lord of beings. Deva Deva, O God of gods. Jagatpate, O ruler of the world. He says, verily you yourself know yourself by yourself. O Purushottama, O source of beings, O Lord of beings, O God of gods, O ruler of the world. So this verse is very beautiful because here we can see Arjuna's bhavana, meaning Arjuna's emotion for Sri Krishna, that he uses 5 sambodhanas. 5 sambodhanas means 5 expressions to call the Lord. He says, Purushottama, you are the ultimate Purusha. Huh? Bhuta Bhavana, you are the source of everything. Bhutesha, you are the source of all beings, or you're the Lord of all beings. Deva Deva, you're the God of gods. Jagatpate, you are the ruler of the world. So this is his bhavana, this is his feeling. And he says 5 different names of Sri Krishna because he's implying that the 5 senses cannot grasp that reality. The 5 senses cannot grasp it. And only you yourself know yourself through yourself. What does this mean? It means that from one standpoint, if we really want to know the story of something, yeah, the real story of something, how do we come to know? Best is to go to the source. People can tell us about this specific person or that specific person. People can tell us all these details. But when we hear direct from the source, it is something different. You know, like when we hear, for example, one of my favorite books is Ishwara Darshan, because it's Swami Tapovan Maharaj Ji's own words. But we hear his stories from other people. It's really nice and fascinating. But when you hear his experiences from his own mouth, you get the total picture, all of his emotions, all of the things in his mind. And he's not hiding anything, he's not limiting anything. He's saying exactly what's in his heart. So whenever we go directly to the source, it's all there. It's a different kind of emotion, it's a different kind of revelation. So here Arjuna is telling Sri Krishna, you yourself can reveal yourself. Nobody else can reveal you. And even if the Rishis have satvic minds, there's still a limitation there. There's still a limitation to that sattva. But Bhagwan is beyond all the gunas. So you yourself reveal yourself. And a deeper meaning is only consciousness can reveal itself. No, consciousness can never be made an object. So, in the world, when we want to know things, we tend to objectify. And we objectify something in order to know something. So if I want to know this book, first I make it an object of my experience, and that's how I know it. If I want to know this computer, I make it an object of my experience. But you will never know yourself as another object. You will only know yourself as yourself. And you don't even need the thought, I am, to know yourself. You just know. You just know. Do you know you're there? You don't have to sign a guest book to know, yes, I'm present. You don't have to say, I am here to know you're there. Nobody even has to tell you you're there. You just know. So in the same way, the self is known by oneself. It is never another object, another thing knowing the self. Because number one, the self cannot be objectified. And number two, there's actually nothing else but the self. Right? So therefore, Arjuna tells Sri Krishna, you come to tell me who you really are, what you are. You tell me your glories. You tell me your vibhutis. I don't want anybody else to tell. So Arjuna continues. Sri Krishna is not speaking yet. Sri Krishna hasn't started talking about his vibhutis. So Arjuna says, I have to convince him. I have to say all of these lines to start to convince him so that he tells me. Because that's another beautiful thing about Bhagavan. He doesn't like to brag. We have nothing, but we like to brag about everything. Bhagavan has everything. He doesn't like to brag. So Sri Krishna has not said anything. So Arjuna has to keep making his case. He's like making his case. Listen, people have said so many things about you, but you yourself know yourself, and you will know everything about yourself. So you reveal it. Now, this is again his next case. His next case, his next plead and request. Vaktumarhasya sheshena.
Vaktumarhasya sheshena.
Divya hyatma vibhutayah.
Divya hyatma vibhutayah.
Yabhir-vibhutibhir-lokan.
Yabhir-vibhutibhir-lokan.
Imanstvam vyapya tishtasi.
Imastvam vyapya tishtasi.
Vaktumarhasya sheshena. Divya hyatma vibhutayah. Yabhir-vibhutibhir-lokan. Imanstvam vyapya tishtasi. He says here, O Bhagavan, Vaktum Arhasi, you should tell, Asheshena, without any reservation, you should just tell me what? Divya, your divine Atma Vibhutayaha, your divine glories, you should tell without any reservations. Ya bihi vibhuti bihi, and by your glories, imam lokan, all of these worlds, vyapya, tvam vyapya, all of these worlds you having pervaded, tishtasi, you exist. So you should indeed, without reserve, tell me of your divine glories by which you exist, pervading all these worlds. So here, that's what I thought. This word imam should actually be iman. For those of you reading Devanagari, it should be iman. Okay. So what is Arjuna saying here? Now tell me, without any reservation, just tell me everything. Don't hide anything. Don't keep anything from me. Don't stop yourself. Don't feel like you have to limit yourself. You just tell me everything. And here, what Arjuna is asking is a very beautiful thing. This, we have to analyze Arjuna's request. How many of us actually seek to know Bhagavan's vibhuti, Bhagavan's glories? Many of us seek to know our own vibhutis, isn't it? Many of us are caught up in our own vibhutis, our own glories. We say, oh, we have such a nice house, we have a wonderful family, wonderful children, we have a wonderful career. We brag about our vibhutis, which are really nothing. So we tend to say, yes, I went to this place for vacation. Yes, I did this. And yes, I did that. Our vibhutis, how much ever we brag about it, first of all, they're not even really vibhutis because they keep changing. They're impermanent. They're all limited. And when we get caught up in our own, so to speak, glory, which we think are our glories, we become so proud. We become so proud and attached to it and drawn to it. And if we're not contemplating on our so-called vibhutis, we're contemplating on what other people have as their vibhutis. How come they have this, but I don't have it? They have all these wonderful things I don't have. Their family is like that, mine is not. They live in such a place, I don't. We think about other people's vibhutis. So this, from here, either we get P or J. We get proud or we get jealous. If it's about our own vibhutis, we're getting proud. If it's about other people, we're getting jealous. So many of us are stuck up in our own worlds, and these are the bhavas that are entering our minds. And when we sit there and think about our lives, our, so to speak, glory, what's happening, our ego gets inflated. And all of these things, they're not secure. They can be taken away at any time. They can go anytime. And really speaking, these are all fake. Without Bhagavan's grace, we wouldn't have any of this. So the thought that I have this, or I am great because I have this, all of these thoughts are what inflates the ego, and it's actually not a vibhuti. Arjuna's asking here, you show me your vibhuti because I don't want to think about myself. I want to pass my ego. For this knowledge to take place, one of the greatest obstacles we know is the ego. Arjuna is saying, I don't want to think about myself. I don't want to think about others. Other people think about the vibhutis of this world, constantly stuck in news. What is happening in news today? What is happening in news, the next day? Constantly their mind is up and down, their blood pressure is up and down, everything is up and down. So Arjuna says, I want to go past this ego. Because if I focus on myself and the world, it's limited. But when I start to think about you, Bhagavad, it's unlimited. When I start to focus on the people and the places and the world, it's all changing, moment to moment changing. But when I focus on you, it's unchanging. It feels so secure, feels so serene. And when I focus on the world and myself and others, there's jealousy, there's pride, there's uncertainty, there's all of these things. But when I focus on Bhagavan's glory, there's awe, there's wonder, there's humility. There's no ego, there's humility that, gosh, look at how magnificent Bhagavan is. And I'm just a little speck in this. Look at how Bhagavan's hand is moving everything. And he's just moving me. There's a sense of awe, there's a sense of wonder. And when we focus on the world and people and things, there's a feeling of insecurity that I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how things are going to be. It's unstable. But when we focus on Bhagwan's Vibhuti, there's so much stability, so much peace, so much grounding. So here he says, I want you to tell me of your glories. I don't want to think about all these so-called things that are happening here because it's not helping me transcend my own ego. I want to think about you, your glory, your infinity, your qualities, your beauty. I want to just think about you. Let my mind be immersed in you, in your vibhuti. And that's it. And this is a very beautiful request, because how many of us actually have this? We're so stuck up in all these little things, and none of us are lifting up our minds. So Arjuna says, tell me. And by this vibhutis, you pervade the whole world. He says, I know that you pervade the entire world. I know that you're in and through it. I know that you're staying in it. But show me where you are, because right now I feel like you're playing hide and seek. I feel like you're hiding. I feel like you're hidden. I know you pervade it. You told me you pervade the whole world. But show me so I can see. Show me so I have something to put my mind to. Show me so I can transcend this ego. Show me your vibhuti. And this is Arjuna's demand. It's Arjuna's demand. And he says, very, very beautifully now, he says, I want to know this, not, in brief, but I want to know it really, really wide, really, really in a whole explanation. I don't want to know it in brief, I want to know it in a whole explanation. First, he's going to finally ask this question. He's going to ask this question to Shree Krishna. So let us see his question now. In verse number 17 says, Katham vidyamaham yogin
Katham vidyamaham yogin
Tvam sada parichintayan
Tvam sada parichintayan
Keshu cha bhaveshu
Keshu cha bhaveshu
Chintyosi bhagavan maya
Chindyosi bhagavan maya
Katham vidyamaham yogin Tvam sada parichintayan Keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi Bhagavan maya. So he says here, Katham vidyam aham. How shall I know? Yogin, oh Shree Krishna, you are the yogi, means you are that which is my very self. How shall I know you? Tvam sada parichintayan, ever meditating, how shall I know you? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu, and in what aspects chintyaha asi, in what aspects are you to be thought of, O Bhagavan, maya, by me? How shall I, ever meditating, know you, O Yogin? In what aspects or form, O blessed Lord, are you to be taught of by me? So Arjuna is asking this question from Bhagwan directly. I want to put my mind on you, but how do I do it? Just tell me, what can I hold on? How do I put my mind in you so that it doesn't move away from you? Right? Because when we are sitting in meditation, sometimes, yes, our mind can be focused on a thought. Even if it's just for a few moments, it can be focused on a thought. And then after that, our mind is distracted again. So he's asking that sada parichintaya. Now, I don't want to meditate on you for just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or I don't want this to be like a meditation practice when I'm sitting down and doing my sadhana. Sada parichintayan means tell me how to think of you so that I always think of you. Tell me how to think of you so that I never lose sight of you. In silence, in and through what I do, in and interacting with people. Tell me that way where I can think of you without ever losing sight of you. Tell me that way to think of you in all different bhavas. Why he's asking in all bhavas? So that I don't get bored. Because sometimes people say, if I only think about Bhagavan one way, I'll get bored. No, tell me another story, tell me another event, tell me another happening. So I can just do it in different ways, because I cannot only think in one bhavana, in one emotion. Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. Please give me different bhavas. That's why we have Ramayana. Then there's Shiv Purana. Then there's Mahabharata. Then there's Bhagavatam. Right? This is what Bhagavan Veda Vyasa ji gave us, because he knows that sometimes, yes, we can think of that one name, of that one form, but after that, we need something else. We need a katha. We need a lesson. We need a shloka. We need a song. We need a puja. So Arjuna says, tell me various ways. So I can keep doing it, and I can keep my mind entertained, because I want to think of you. So how many of us have this sincere request that Bhagavan, I want to think of you. Can you tell me how should I think of you? This is so beautiful, because many times our minds are so preoccupied with everything else that we cannot think about Bhagavan. But here Arjuna says, you tell me, you capture my mind, you hold it. Further, Arjuna comes up and he says, I have a demand by how you explain it. So Arjuna's demanding. He says, you yourself can tell me, so you tell me what it is, and I want you to tell me so that I keep my mind on you, and I want you to tell me so that you tell me in different bhavas. You show me in different bhavas. And now he says, I want you to tell me all the details, and I don't want doses. I want details. So let us see here, verse number 18. Vistarenatmano yogam.
Vistarenatmano yogam.
Vibhutim cha janardana.
Vibhutim cha janardana.
Bhuyah kataya
भूय कथय तृप्तिर्हि
शृण्वतो नास्ति मे अमृतम्
शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्
विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे अमृतम्. So here Arjuna says Vistarena. Vistarena in detail. Atmanaha yogam vibhutim cha. Your yoga and your vibhuti tell me in detail. Vistarena, O Janardana. Bhuyaha, you tell me again. Because remember, he spoke about his vibhutis in previous chapters, but now Arjuna says, I want it in detail. Kathaya, you tell me, because triptihi, because I don't feel contentment, shanvataha, of hearing. I don't feel contentment of hearing your amritam, your nectar-like speech. So triptihi nasti. He says, tell me again in detail, O Janardana, your yoga power and imminent glory, for I do not feel satisfied by hearing your life-giving nectar-like speech. So here, now, Arjuna is saying, Shree Krishna, I don't belong to Gen Z. I don't want a TikTok version and a YouTube short. I want the whole Vistara. I want the whole Vistara because I don't get full. And that was the description of Arjuna in the beginning. He was Priyamana. Priyamana is the one who enjoys listening to Bhagwan's katha again and again and again and again. And one of the indicators of bhakti who is atripti and tripti. Meaning in what's supposed to be contentment, they are discontent in that contentment. They just can't get enough of it. So he says, I am atripti and tripti. I am discontent in this contentment. In the contentment that you're giving me, I still want more. I still want more. I still want more. Bhagwan is the only place where that greed becomes joyous. Whenever we are greedy for food and we eat too much, we get sick. When we're greedy to watch too much TV, our eyes get bogged down. When we're greedy to travel too much, we get too tired. But the greed for Bhagavan, that discontent for Bhagavan is such a beautiful thing because it's so peaceful. It's so peaceful and it's so loving. So Arjuna says, I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that by listening to your nectar-like speech. You have said it in chapter 7. You've said it in chapter 9. You've given me a little bit also here, but I'm still not happy. And the thing is, Bhagavan has infinite supply. It's sometimes, one thing is that if the supplier has a limit, then they cannot keep giving you more and more and more. Even if you want more, they cannot keep giving you because they don't have supply. But Bhagavan's supply is infinite, infinite supply. There's so many stories, there's so many names, there's so many ways to think about him. Even if we spend our whole lives, we will not cover all the shastras that are there about Bhagavan. Even if we spend our whole lives, we won't be able to get the depth of one name of Bhagavan, even the word Om. So he says, Sri Krishna, you have infinite supply. So I'm sure you can keep telling me. And he says, I have nothing to do in my life. He has to fight a war. Shri Krishna is going to remind him that soon. But he says, I just want to keep listening. I just want to keep listening. So you please tell me, describe it to me, because it purifies me. It brings me life. It makes me alive. See, some people are purifiers. Some things are purifying. Some people are fryers. Huh? Some people, when you go to see them, you feel alive, you feel good, you feel positive. Other people, when you see them, you feel fried, out of energy and lost and grumpy. So Arjuna says, this is like my daily dose. This is like my medicine. But give it to me in detail, because I'm just not satisfied yet. Now Shree Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, I can't do that for you. I can't tell you. Why? He says, I would love to help you, but it's impossible. Let us see this very beautiful verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Hantate Kathayishyami
हन्त ते कथयिष्यामि
Divya Hyatmavibhutayah
दिव्या ह्यात्मविभूतयः
Pradhanyatah Kuru Shreshta
प्राधान्यतः कुरु श्रेष्ठ
Nastyanto Vistarasya Me.
नास्त्यन्तो विस्तरस्य मे
Shri Bhagavan Vacha Hantate Kathayishyami Divya Hyatma Vibhutayah Pradhanyatah Kuru Shreshta Nastyanto Vistarasya Me. So Shri Bhagavan says, Hanta, oh alas, Kathayishyami Te, I will declare to you Divya Atma Vibhutayaha. My divine glories I will declare to you. But Pradhanyataha. Pradhanyataha means in their prominence. Kurushreshta. O Kurushreshta, I will declare this to you. Why? Na asti antaha. Because there is no end. Vistarasya me, of my detail. There's no end to my details. The blessed Lord said, Alas, now I will declare to you my divine glories, imminent in their prominence, O best of Kurus. There is no end to the details of my extent. So, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna, now listen, if I keep talking, I will not finish and you have to fight a war. So I'm going to tell you my divine glories, but only the ones that are prominent, only the ones that are prominent from all of the vibhutis. That's what I'm going to list in this chapter. So we will see very beautifully the remaining verses. He'll talk about all of his divine glories. And he calls Arjuna Kurushreshta. Kurushreshta means you are the best of the Kurus. Best of the Kurus because you have asked me how to think of me. You've asked me such a divine question, how to think of me. And he says, there's no end to my detail because there's no end to me. Bhagavan is infinite. There's no end to Bhagavan. There's no beginning to Bhagavan. Because beginning and end, again, are within the realm of time. So the minute we say Bhagavan begins in this era, Bhagavan ends in this era, we're putting Bhagavan in time and we're making time superior to Bhagavan. So he says, there's no beginning, there's no end to me, nor to my glories. There's no end to all the speech, there's no end to my silence. Therefore, I'll just tell you what's required. And in this way, Bhagavan is going to slowly reveal his vibhutis. The next verse is the cream of the chapter. So we won't do that now. We'll do that next week. It's a very, very beautiful verse. One of my favorite verses in the entire Gita. So we'll take that up next week. Now I'll just summarize what we've done so far. So what we've done today is really the whole conversation of Sri Krishna and Arjuna. And the flow of thought is this, that Arjuna starts to glorify Sri Krishna. And he says, you are the supreme being, you are the supreme of everything. And I have come to hear this. I have come to hear this from you. I've come to hear this from the Rishis also. And what the Rishis say must be true because they are satvika. Their minds are sattvika, their minds are pure. So it must be true, and you yourself have said it. And he says also that uh, all of these things, I know they're true, I think they're true, but I still need to understand them in my heart. I still need to understand the depth of them. And because you're not known, your depth is not known by the devas or the danavas, meaning it's not known by any thought, a good thought or negative thought, but it's not known by the devatas or danavas. And then he says, I want you yourself to tell me, because I know you're beyond the senses, I know you're beyond the mind. I want you yourself to tell me who you are, because I want to hear from the source itself. When you tell me, then I'll get everything. I'll get all of the details, all of the wonderful things. So you tell me. And he tells Sri Krishna that I want to know your vibhuti because I don't want to get stuck up in my, so to say, vibhuti. I don't want to think about myself anymore. I don't want to sit here and think about this and this, my life, or that, my life. I've realized the limitations of the world, and I've realized the limitations of glory. All of us strive to be glorious because our nature is actually infinite. We strive for infinite glory because our nature is infinite. So Arjuna said, I don't want that. I don't want to think about myself. I don't want to think about others. I want to think about your glories. Because when I think about my glories, all these emotions come, pride and jealousy and disturbances. But when I think about you, there's so much awe and wonder and humility. And it just dissolves the ego. So let me think about your vibhuti, your glory. And your glory is limitless. Your glory is unchanging. And your glory is true. It is real. Unlike our glory is nothing. We don't even have it. So he says, Shri Krishna, you please tell me, how do I know you and how do I think about you all the time? So that it's not just limited to one space, one time. How do I think of you all the time? And please also tell me different ways that I can think about you, different ideas, because I can't fix myself on one kind of thought. So tell me different kinds of thoughts to think about you. And please also tell me all of these things in detail. I don't want any short dose. I want it in detail because I just long for and I thirst for more. And in this way, Arjuna's request goes in front of Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna says, there's no end to my glory. I will tell you that which is predominant. And that is the next section of the chapter. Okay, so we will stop here for today and more we'll take up next week. In 2 weeks is Deepavali. I think it's October 20th. So somebody had said that everybody will be doing puja in their homes. So we will not have class on the 20th, but we will have class next week. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.